Good morning, predicted trades, family. It is Friday, March 11th. Oh, ready to end this week and enjoy the weekend. As always, a reminder to check our news channel every morning just so that you're up to speed on any news. In our Discord, I'm not going to cover it here. But also today, at 10 a.m., we have some economic data coming out. It's the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index and the 5-year inflation expectations. If you are not familiar with the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index and the 5-year inflation thing, it comes out pretty much every quarter. The last time it came out was in December. Their outlook back in December was not good, in that we were going to be seeing a significant rise in inflation. And it happened around here, right? So we start to sell off. We get one last good pop for new highs, squeeze for a week in a tight range while big money repositions. And we have been down, down, down since. So they're about to drop that report again today as an update on how inflation's going since the last report. It's going to be very important and key, so we'll have to see how big money in the market digests that information today. We could see some good moves in the first 30 minutes and then chop, or we could see some chop consolidation until the report comes out. So just one key thing to keep in mind. As I cover some things today, I am going to review the 30-minute Ichimoku and where we are, because it's one thing we like to use for a change in trend, right? When we lost it here and rejected it and rejected it and rejected it, down, 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 we fight back to it, reject it, we get through it, fall out for a second, fight back to it. Now we're above it. It can be a target to the downside today, and we do kind of have a trend line from the lows of this week, right? So, if that report when it comes out is not good, we could start to head back down to test this 30-minute Ichimoku and this zone, at least, that we rejected on Tuesday. We mucked around that on Wednesday. We couldn't even get to, and reject end of day yesterday. So wouldn't be surprised for a slip back to this zone, which has kind of already started pre-market. We tapped the zones above that we rejected on Monday and have tried to fight our way back to, right? Rejected them pre-market, back down. So let's see if this little shaded zone where we're starting to settle will be enough to hold us up above 4280 on a bid to get back to 4300 and this zone above 4320. Or do we lose this shaded zone and start to fall back to the zone I just mentioned around 4260? And we could even overswing that to test the trend line and the 30-minute Ichimoku, right? We're getting a nice gap. After what looked like a gap down, we held the trend line and pushed up. So, if they do intend to take us back down, they have pushed us higher for a better entry. But can we gap and go? Yes, we gapped. We had a gap and go on Wednesday. we could have a gap and go again today. So keep an eye out and see. If we come back to fill the gap, which would be retesting 4260, very likely it would mean giving out this shaded zone, which kind of aligns with the highs from Wednesday, right? So if this then that, can we hold these highs from Wednesday, the shaded zone, 4280, and keep trucking? Or do we go to fill the gap and maybe overswing it to get the Ichimoku? In Q. Very similar story. When you've got our levels and everything, it becomes clearer and clearer. Pretty much same trend line. In fact, we'll just go ahead and add that now. Come on. And pretty much same scenario. The trend line is going to intersect the 30-minute Ichimoku, a key level, and we are kind of trying to hold the highs from Wednesday right now, right? So can we fight back up to pre-market HOD? Does that become a point of rejection that sends us down? Or do we just reject this zone and head down? We do have this other shaded zone that could create a bounce. Let's see. As things stand, NQ's trying to lead to the upside, right? Up a little bit more percent-wise. And squeezes today, just 4-hour and daily on NQ. ES has a 2-hour. So let me get through each index with this, and then we'll load in squeezes and see where they're at. Sorry, let me go back. So NQ, can it hold up this 13,700 on a bid to get back to pre-market HOD and 13,800, or does it slip 700 and start to head back to the Ichimoku and this key level and the trend line? Ready. Looking very similar, not quite pulled back as far to its highs of Wednesday. The Ruddy was the first to get through the daily 21, which we'll see in a second when I load the other study set. So overall, as I've been saying the last few days, the Russell's been kind of moving first, kind of front running a little bit, so it can be a good key indication. If it continues to hold the highs and this 2020 and start to pop back to pre-market high, you can see the indexes do the same. I know normally the Ruddy follows, right? But in the rotation that we have been seeing, small caps have been kind of getting hit first, whether it's downside or upside. Not necessarily that they're trying to lead, just that they are oscillating earlier. So just something to watch out for. If it starts to lose its highs from Wednesday, same deal. We've got the trend line, which if you actually draw that out, looks like it would hit the trend line before the 30-minute Ichimoku. So again, another nice gauge. If you put the trend line in here and we do fall and hold trend line, then we most likely don't need to get all the way to the Ichimoku. Go to YM. Same deal, already below the highs from Wednesday, so let's see if those become a point of rejection. They align well with this zone that we have pulled under and are rejecting. So a continued rejection of these highs could mean slipping back to yesterday's highs, which gets us close to the Ichimoku again. Let me just save this real quick. Pretty sure I have a prep one. Come on. And let me redo that. I forgot to hit that little check box. Okay, now if we load in this, we should get all of our squeezes. Come on. Come on. You slow chart. There we go. So, as you can see, the highs from Wednesday, now that we zoom down, create a nice little zone that we are now trapped below. Come on, zoom in, there we go. So, do we continue to reject this zone, which also has the daily 15 in it, and head back to the daily 8, which is now at the top of the lower zone, right? Our trend line and the Ichimoku were down near 4240. So do we continue to reject the 15, slip to the daily 8 and VWAP? Can we hold that zone, 4260, start to head back up? Or do we continue this new trend down to the trend line? Let's go to NQ, get a view of those squeezes. Come on. So, I believe the trend or the highs from Wednesday create this zone around the 15 that we already rejected. Yeah, from after hours high. So we hit the daily 15, that zone, fall back to the lower zones, got the daily 8, VWAP, and trend line below. So it looks like we're on a journey to visit VWAP. We'll see if we get there before open, or if we slip there after open. We do have the daily 8, where we could bounce. And also the top of this, what was probably a 2 hour, I don't know, let me look at it. An hourly, okay. So, we hold the daily 8 and the top of where this hourly used to be to start the journey back up. Do we get a pop and reject setting a lower high to head lower? Do we gap and go and get up to the top of this higher time frame squeeze? We'll have to see. Those are the levels I'll be watching. We'll get ready real quick. So already made it to its higher time frame squeezes. Most likely the 4 hour is the one we're looking at. Yes, so already has pulled up to a 4 hour. It is not far from the daily 50 if it does get through that 4 hour. But if it continues to reject this 4 hour and 2 hour, we could head to the bottom of those, back at yesterday's low. We could easily also catch a bounce around the psychological 2000 and any of these zones. Looks like the daily 15 cuts right through here at 2002. And the daily 8, actually, they're stacked together pretty much. So, do we fade to the daily moving averages and catch a bounce? Or do we catch a bounce? There's the 21 as well at 2015-ish. So, do we bounce at the 21, slip through it to pick up the 15 and the 8? Or if we lose all of those, we're pretty bearish and heading back to these 2 hour, 4 hour, and we have the daily squeeze down below. YM, and then I need to accelerate through these names. There we go. So YM also made it to its 4 hour squeeze top for a rejection. Is this actually the daily too? No, the daily is going to be higher. The 4 hours more established. Okay. So, jeez Louise, I gotta get off this. Yes, 4 hour confirm. So, YM almost made it to the daily 21. 4 hour squeeze top held it back. So let's see if it holds the daily 8, daily 15, right around this 33,300 to 250. If it slips those in VWAP, probably headed back down to this first Keltner down. If we can hold any of these and start making our way back up, YM could get to the daily 21 in the middle of this 4 hour. What happens there, we'll have to see, but it is a pretty thick 4 hour squeeze. Can we just explode up into it? Yes, but I'll say this is low volume, makes it easier to get up there, you know, being pre-market. During cash session, it will be a harder, slower grind, just like on the gap and go that we had the other day. All right, let me switch this back up so these load a little bit faster. Come on. All right. Apple. Had a very nice push. Got up to 62. We just had a slip that got down to 58. Let's see if you can guess what the range today will be. Probably going to be trapped between 62 and 58. So mark those. We do have a very nice flat 30-minute Ichimoku right at around 159.68. So for upside on Apple, would like to see it hold the top of that Ichimoku. If we start to slip through it, then the target's going to be the bottom, which ranges us right back down near pre-market low. If we can hold that top, we can start to push back to pre-market high. AMD. And just for fun, actually, We'll see if we have to go visit these wicks. It basically means filling the gap. That wick came down and hit what yesterday's close was. So let's see if that trajectory continues and we retest that wick. AMD. Could easily hold up this 107 and then start to march back to 110. If it slips 107, it's going to fill the gap. We'll have to see where it stops there. Let's go back to a 30-minute. Because we also have a nice flat top there at 107. So, upside on AMD today. Let's see if it gets to 107. Would be a good spot to go long if it can hold. If not, it's going to fill the gap back to about 106, which gets you about bottom of cloud. Another good spot to go long. But it could easily hold this 108 while if market ends up kind of chopping for the first 30 minutes while it waits on the economic data. Amazon. The crazy split lady. Gotta love key levels. Gaps right on up, comes back and tippy taps my key level. Pushes for more. We do have the 30-minute itchy, which caught up with price action. So let's see if it wants to slip back to that or if it can hold this top shaded area and keep on pushing back to 3012. Even with all of this crazy gap and everything, if you waited and gave it a sec right around here, there were some great entries for the 3000s and 35th. Oh no, I'm sorry. We were looking at the 3050s and the 3100s yesterday, so there were some very interesting interactions with Beast before it popped into the day. So let's see if it can hold up here. Looks like it's aligning with yesterday's high. If it slips that, we're probably going back to this 30-minute Ichimoku. And if it can hold and push, 3012 next key target, and then, you know, there's plenty of levels in between that. Let's move on. Come on. There we go. Facebook has quite a few more squeezes intact than Apple. Apple only had a 1 hour, and then for our daily, Facebook has a 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, yada yada. Let's just go ahead and throw on compression cloud, 30-minute. There we go. So, Facebook in a very tight 30-minute squeeze, right around the Ichimoku cloud. Already starting to fall below it, but we do have a nice flat support at 195 today, and bottom support right at around this 193 key level. So let's see, can we hold 193 on a mission back to squeeze cloud top and 200? Facebook, you know, gapping down at this point while a lot of other names are still gapping up. So relative strength-wise, not loving it. And if it stays below this 30-minute Ichimoku and can't hold this 30-minute squeeze, then we head back down. Google would be next. No squeezes in place, just a daily. Having a decent gap, starting to come back to the highs. 30-minute itchy. And back down in about the middle of yesterday's range. So let's see, do we hold up to yesterday's highs, Wednesday's highs, and keep on trucking? Google likes to try to lead on a Friday. Or if we start to lose Wednesday's highs, yesterday's highs, through Ichimoku, back to 2620, the 2600s are right at the bottom of the 30-minute Ichimoku. So obviously we could bounce at a number of points there before we get down here. Just all key levels to watch. Microsoft. So, as I flip through these names, just like we saw on Facebook, it had already come back and will be gapping down. Let's keep an eye on what has relative strength and holds up. It could mean they want to try to lead to the upside, and it could mean if the market rolls over, they're going to play a quick game of catch-up, right? So, let's see if Microsoft can hold this 288, right around the highs from Wednesday. If it loses that, it could move quickly to 286 and this Ichimoku at 285. Oh, and if it can hold 288, get through pre-market high, mission 295 is basically where we're headed. Last Friday's high. Netflix. Earnings coming up in just a month. So, who knows? Could this be the beginning of the earnings run? We've got, what, about 4 weeks, 5 weeks until earnings? So, been pretty weak, and then, everything pops. We covered that Netflix did not pull back as hard as some stuff on Wednesday when we saw the market, do the hard oscillation. Yesterday that was Tuesday. But it did not pull back as hard as some things on Wednesday when we had the slow grind up. Anyhow, point being, Netflix also had the news about raising rates over in UK and whatnot. So this 30-minute squeeze today is going to be a great gauge for Netflix. If we can get through the top and this 365, which was rejection the last couple of days, we can head back down. 355 has been support. So we're trapped between those. If you look at yesterday, it was 355, 365, 355, 365. Over and over and over. When we're back up at the top of that range. So, we'll have to see how the market opens and everything, but good rejection of 365 could bring you back to 355, Ichimoku cloud. 355 could be support, give you a great long to maybe get through 365 on the journey up to Friday's high around 75. Common theme there. Biddy. Held 220, up to 226. Now we're up to 230. And we are above and holding the highs of the week. So, chips might want to lead upside today. Keep an eye on Friday's high. Definitely going to be a potential rejection point if we get there. Let's see if it can hold 230 to set up for that long, 236-ish. If we lose 230, we have a nice flat top at 225, which gets us back to filling the gap, basically, right? Oh, target's upside, downside. And, I guess I'll cover Roku very, very quickly. Below 30-minute itchy already. Very small gap. Been looking weak. not looking like as strong as Netflix has been looking, so no real interest. I'll hit Tesla, I'll come back to Spies and Qs. Tesla, one thing I wanted to cover. Sometimes on Tesla, they love to take it down just to rip it right back. And then take it down hard just to rip it right back. So 850, down below 800, 850, almost 800, 820, 850, 800, back to 850. I know some of us hit the 800s yesterday and some of us hit the 850s, 830s on the way back up. Those will be opening in the money or close to the money. So let's see if we can get through this shaded zone that we have rejected already and these pre-market highs, or if we continue to reject 850 or stay below it, we could head back. We have a nice flat top at 837, so we could see a little profit taking, hit this Ichimoku, which fills the gap, in order to keep on trucking. If we lose Ichimoku, 820, 800. Pretty simple. QQQ. I'm assuming that wick down probably matches what Apple was doing on its wick down. I believe it was Apple that we covered that. So let's see if we continue to slip, if we can hold up this 333, 333 to 334 zone. If not, likely going back to 330, filling the gap, and hitting the Ichimoku at around 331. If we can hold 333, we can keep trucking back to 335, 337, which aligns with the highs from, no, that's Monday. Yeah, 338. Okay. It's already rejected 338, falling back. Let's see if we can find our feet at 333 to get back. If we lose 333, 331. SPY. Great bounce at 30-minute Ichimoku today already. Got up to the top of my upside targets. Reached out for a second to kind of hit Friday's highs in the cash session at least. So I'll mark that. But slipping back, if we can't hold this shaded zone in 428, wouldn't be surprised for this 426 retest. It has been very key all week. Every day we have interacted with 426.36. So let's see if we need to fall back to test it, which would be almost filling the gap. A bounce there would not even take us to 30-minute Ichimoku, so a very bullish sign to play back up. But we could even hold this 428.66 like we're trying to, and the top of the shaded zone around 428, and continue our journey back to 434, 433. So yeah. That's pretty much it for today. Hopefully that was helpful for everybody. We'll see you in the chat. Good luck.